Good morning. Today is, well, it's the end of the third week in June. I don't know the exact day. I'm not going to guess. We are in the bow tie area today. In recent weeks, we've had some limited success in the Five Bogs area with the, I'm just going to call them the three, but today we're going to kind of break it up a little bit. We are going to look for the one we call number three, because he was prior to the first group kind of rounding out with an extra member. We've had off and on seeming indications of presence of a third one to the northeast of where the Five Bogs are, and that's kind of more or less where the bow tie area is. We're heading there now. So that's today's plan. We're going to head in and we will report things as they occur. Okay, we're obviously in the woods, making our way towards the first part of the bow tie. Well, actually, it's the precursor to the bow tie. The bow tie is actually behind the first meadow we go through, if I'm being accurate and remembering accurately. It's been a year after all, but so we're coming up on a stretch of mud, so we're going to look for tracks given the conditions, and I see bullwinkle has come through recently. Fairly big bull, too. Let's show you. So that versus, you getting my foot? There you go. So basically half the size of my foot. So this is not a youngster. This is a fairly big bull, and the way he's just chewing up the mud in here is indicative this is a big animal. I don't know. First time in here a year, so I have no idea how fresh the prints are, obviously, but he did come through at some point, obviously. We're going to hop here, and what I was concerning myself with before is we've had a little bit of rain, and there are parts of the beaver meadows where the soggy factor, shall we say, is maybe going to be a little bit more. So the first endeavor to get in here is going to be interesting as far as how accessible it's going to prove to be. Hopefully not too bad, but we'll know in a few seconds here once we get around the bend and get over to the opening to see what we're up against. And if we need a plan B, I sort of have one. In that there's enough areas in the overall vicinity, more or less, that I can get to in fairly short order, that if I had to abandon ship on this idea, we could. I had to go through that last year. It's looking a whole lot more swampy this year. Crapola. I'm going to look for a plan B here because I don't want to go. Can I get under that? If that snaggle wasn't there, I could get around that. Well, what do we have to do here? Bullwinkle went through the mud, and that looks every bit as nasty and swampy. I guess we're going through the mud. Crap. At least ever so briefly. Yeah. Alright, it's not actually, if you can stay out of it long enough, it's actually not as bad. I'm going to stay on the high ground, but it wasn't quite as bad as it looked. One must also remember that bull, if it's a bull moose, that thing's, a small bull moose is going to be like 800 pounds or something, so a little more weight than I have. Even after a pizza party we had at work, I'm not that big. So we go down through there, and we'll see what our swamp foot factor is going to be for today. And either start moving in or reevaluating our day. Preferably going in. Actually, the best approach is further. I always do this too. I always underestimate the distance, underestimate the distance is a reference I seek. You want to get over there. We're still over here. And have a moth crawling up my arm. So, making our way. Once I get past the first part, it's usually the part where you go further in is usually easier going. But again, let's kind of see how we do here. We're almost there. Alright, so sort of a moment of truth getting out on this. If we sink in, and there have been times this has been fine, and there have been times that happens where you kind of just sink into it and run the risk of losing your boot, but it doesn't seem, well, it's not the worst it's been, put it that way. I just kind of have to keep moving and kind of find myself to drier ground. Once you get further out here, it kind of dries out enough. You're on more solid ground, but that first segment, as I recall, is swampy. Once you get into taller grass, I think it gets a little better. So yeah, this is what I'm going to call the transitional meadow that gets you to the bow tie. We're basically going through that opening over there. And if I can see a clear way in, there's two smaller meadows over that way. I don't think I've ever been in those. Walked by them both times because I don't think there is a clear-cut way in, but we kind of have to traverse this stuff. And on the other end of the meadow over there, probably, what is that, like 200 yards, maybe less. There's like a little, it gets like more rocky and less swampy and easier to go through. So I can kind of see a makeshift moose path, and this is usually the least crappy way through. Not always. Again, referring to, I don't like not knowing where my feet go, because you have if you have things like hidden streams and sudden drops, that's where you hyperextend knees and things, and that's no fun, especially when you're way the hell in here and you have to limp back to your car for a 2-hour or so ride home. This is a little muddier than I'm normally used to, but there's a horsefly buzz in my head too. He's angry at his cousin that I took out yesterday where I live. Just sitting there very blissfully minding his own business, waiting to bite somebody on the weekend, and I smacked him with a book and pretty much put an end to him. Not on my watch, flyboy. Anyway. Okay, now we're getting into the drier stuff, I think. Or I just jinxed myself, one of the two. There is coming up, based on memory, someone in here. We will cross. It's drier here, but there's the stream right there I mentioned. There's a stream that cuts through. Typically, you can see it fairly good, as you can see here, but if you hit it at the wrong angle and stepped into it, you're going to get wet feet. And we have to cut to the right here because of that over there. If I'm picking that up. So this is where we kind of retreat to the edge of the meadow because it gets swampy again, as you can see. Well, I'll show you. That and basically all this. Not the driest of ground. But you kind of zigzag through it, and depending on how much rain you had the week before, you kind of, how am I going to get there from here? Let's do this. High ground to high ground to, crap. Minimally wet ground to high ground. There you go. So what we're going to sort of do is get to the end of this and decide how windy it is for droning purposes. Because quick pan of the transitional. So the other meadows are sort of over there, but I've never been through there, and I forget how thick the undergrowth is. I was still recovering from the new Meadow bout of 2 weeks ago for a couple of days, because that was, I don't know how obvious it is for the viewer to see on the, you can kind of sort of see a clearing in there, sort of. Anyway, just for the sake of giggles, a pretty flower, and right there, and sorry. The minute you sit still and all the deer flies come out to love you. Hopefully they'll obey the laws of DEET. Because when I get home I'll need more bug spray. I used it up today. Not that you guys care, but I'm just, I guess, whining. So yeah, I'm looking through there. I don't see an obvious hole. I don't just want to do a random wood scramble to nowhere if it doesn't serve any purpose. But, crap. The mossy stuff is swampy. And although I'm not really whining about it, I've given up pretty much any hope of having dry feet for the rest of the day just because of the nature of the ground. It is soupy, so we're kind of stuck with what we have to work with. Okay, so okay, even the high ground is like that suction mud that takes your boot. I'm going to stand on this log. And so this is normally workable for droning. With the mud, screw that. We're not doing that here. We'll work out other details. We'll work out other details as we come upon them. This is not ideal. Did I walk by that pond? It's either over there or I did. Okay, so here's a thought. I sort of see indications, I think, of a clearing over there. Sorry, over there. We may try for that. Bow tie is right there, so we're going to go there first. Let me decide how much of a swamp fest this is. Okay, here's that. No, this is not the pond. This is like beaver damage. Dam as in damage, not as in like damaged. So depending on how thick the undergrowth is there, let me kind of gauge that real quick and how hard. Actually, you can probably get around there if you get your feet wet, but I can angle through that. That might be a clearing over there. So plan A is to go to the bow tie, make our way through that, at least to the middle of it. And plan 1A may be to jump over this beaver dam here and head over there once. I'm also going to hold off on the drone because the wind is kind of like off and on. So I'm going to estimate, like they said, between 9 and 13 miles an hour, which for the Spark is probably fine, but for the Mini, it's enough to play with it. And I really don't want to fish a drone out of these thick woods, if you even could. That is not how I intended to spend my day, so we're not doing that. Moving right along. Once I get to the bow tie, I may take a segment break in order to cover a little ground and figure out where I want to situate myself for a good piece of this. I can also jump over here, which is good. I'm just kind of trying to gauge how, I mean, the walk over to the other clearing, if that's what that is, probably isn't more than 100 yards, maybe 150, which isn't that far, but it's a matter of how thick it is and how torn up you're going to be doing it. So we'll gauge that on the way out. One thing at a time, I guess. This is all muddy, crappy. Or is it better down here because I don't want to spike myself on that beaver punchy stick. I'm going to take the low road, I think. And kind of go up and around. We'll do the low road, and if it sucks, we'll do the high road on the way out. So, log to lump. To that, to rock, to hopefully not muddy, rocky stuff. To, yeah, that's swampy as hell. To log, to that. To rocky stuff, back to grass. So in retrospect, that wasn't really any easier or harder than the other one was. C'est la vie. I'm kind of roping over branches to get to more solid stuff, which is really proving to be annoyingly elusive today, if I'm being whiny. Nope, it's all swampy crap. Yay. You keep thinking I mean that yay, too. Get out of my way. What a bunch of swampy... what a bunch of swampy shit. So, I'd be looking at these tracks down here, too, if they weren't just like distorted moose tracks. Bow tie is nigh. As the crow flies. The rhyme was kind of inadvertently there, but whatever. This is better because we can at least walk on this crap. So you can at least get in this far. I don't think we can really drone from here though, because it's all tree ridden. So it's a shame that other area was all muddy and crappy for droning, because if I did a pop-up there, I'd be able to gauge over there how far the the travel to that other thing is in the exact positioning of it. But mud is not a cooperative factor today. So he's really swampy ass in there. Not a fan. Gotta get a little higher up. So basically this is a matter of like walking around the periphery of this thing as far as you can get. Something ate there, probably a bear. Not this year, but I have found bear tracks in here before. So this trail is kind of a highway for the local stuff that walks through. What have you. Bear, moose, deer, number 3. Haven't actually seen number 3, I've just seen his tracks. Whereas The three have been a little more, I think when Mom was preggers, they were a little more careless because they, I think they had nested in a given area and they had kind of committed to it. And when I blundered into it, they were trying to run me off. And did to some degree of success. But okay, let's get over this, and then this gets all hilly up there, so I either have to go low or go high. And I'm going to opt for low if this remains unswampy. If it's just like this sagebrush shit, I should be able to get over there without. Yeah, this looks, so far looks dry. So right now, we're sort of in the middle of pod 1 of the bow tie. And for the record, I haven't heard or seen sign of boo as far as number 3 being about, or anybody else who might be new to the area, if you know what I mean. Always happy to have a new tracking subject, but you have to find them first. That's the tricky part. That's always the tricky part with these folks. We come through on the weekends. They live here, so they know the terrain. If he's in the neighborhood, he probably knows 4 different ways to walk out of here all nice and quiet, not even have me know he's here, unfortunately. But okay, so I need to remind myself, does it go that way? Remember, and this is like, when I say I remember, I mean from the drone footage of last year when I overflew this. I want to say it loops over that way. If I'm wrong, well then screw me. But let's I'm always annoyed when I don't see a moose either, because when I'm looking down at here, they're like moose tracks literally everywhere. So where the hell are they? Yeah, I'm over there, I think. I'm gonna dodge the deeper end of this stuff if I can. And actually, I see a path that might have been. I'm gonna opt for the bullwinkle option because he usually knows and kind of blazes. Yeah, you can already see his trail right here. Let me see if you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Moose came through here, and that sign of wear and tear, it means that he's been through here a few times and kind of shows you the way. So he kind of blazes him. He kind of blazes the way, and then the other stuff falls behind him. Down there, you got some Bambi tracks. Kind of a stream through there. Got a big beaver dam over here. And the mud has returned. So let's see here. Got a little something over there. I don't think that's a bow tie though. Damn it. Hold on. Allow me to make the camera behave. As in, get off me. Suddenly the layer of deer flies has gone ballistic too, so fun. Okay, so we're out in a muddy spot. Moose track, moose track, moose track. Where are the Bigfoot tracks? Got deer tracks. After I come back, I'll remember where my tracks are. What's this? Moose track. So yeah, get off me. You can't tell me you don't hear those things buzzing around my head right now. Okay, so this area looks fairly dry, and then second half of the bow tie is over here. But down here, you've got all this that I can look at too. And ironically, there's nothing to look at. There's like no tracks at all. Okay, so we're going to head through this over here and pop into what I believe is pod number 2 of the bow tie. And kind of step over the beaver dam without violating it, because not really any reason to. Kind of respect for their engineering feats. Hold on. Muddy spot. Not too bad though. Kind of navigate this dead tree though. And we're down a bar. I'm going to get over to the second pod, then we might take a break. Unless I find a track right in the middle of this muddy area, but no dice. This ground is a lot more uneven than it looks. They're like muddy spots, and then you got to step over logs and other things. Okay, so bear with me one second. Oh, yeah, that would help, huh? We're about 20 feet from popping out. I could probably pop out here, but we are going to wait until we get over there because there's a better opening. Give me a more panoramic view of what's going on. Pod number 2. Okay, so, sorry. I will have to edit that out. Shit, I got a bug on my face. You stupid phone. Phones are so much more likable when they actually do what they want and what you want them to. You stupid freaking son of a bitch. Thank you. How hard is it just to just simply turn off? Okay, there's like a big pond over here too, so with a pond comes mud, and with mud comes the ability to find tracks. So kind of hop over this little root thing here, pop out on the open ground here, which hopefully isn't massively swampy. And of course I see a puddle immediately, well that sucks. Let's see what we got. I think if we go up and around we might have easier going. Or is that just a puddle? Let's kind of gauge this. Some of this is walkable, I think. Yeah, if I jump this and go over there, I should be alright. Yeah, we're good. I basically want to get out this big mud area over here and check for tracks, because they'll either have a whole shit ton or no. But so here is bow tie 2, I guess. Okay, so what I'm referring to is all of this mud. I mean, sadly, okay, hold on, there's something in the middle over there. Looks like moose tracks, though. I'm gauging that looks swampy, so we're going to stay in the grass if we can. Jump this thing and see how we do without, because that's what happened to my knee at the last in New Manitou, was the jumped over. Okay, you got sinkholes in here too, so I had to kind of figure my way around this. And if I jump that, I guarantee you I'm going to sink it up to my effing knee, which we're not going to do. We'll walk out on the mud, which is proving to be a little bit more forgiving than I thought. Okay, so pardon my rambling, I'm just kind of thinking out loud as I go. pebbly sand is better than mud. Although I'm even kind of sinking into that. So Bambi tracks, moose tracks. So here's the thing. I think I was pointing to an opening over there. I think it actually comes out over here and loops around. I think that big thing's like a tree island in the middle of the thing, more or less. Could be anyway. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to take a segment break real quick to get a centerpiece of the, and then check out those tracks in the middle. Those look older, but could be interesting. I found this. If the stupid camera would play nice as I try to attempt it. So there's this. You got turkey tracks, but you have these weird depressions that go along the periphery too. They look, I'm not going to walk out on that because they'll sink up to my knees, but they look roughly the same, the right shape. They are potentially big enough to be number 3s, and they kind of go in this direction. Sorry, let me go back up. There you go. In that direction, sort of. But given their vague definition, they're probably older too, though. But so that's at least interesting. You have turkey came through here. A couple of deeper ones over. I'm also trying to find a way to see if I can get over there to the other side. Over there, sorry. So actually the indents kind of keep following. Get off me, you damn fly. Freaking deer flies are getting aggressive now. Another reason not to drone in here. Wind, 1, but 2, the minute I drop my guard, these deer flies are going to have a field day on me. And I'd rather not do that. I'm just out here looking for tracks. Yeah, you're dead. So he's dead. I swat him. He's dead. He's still trying to bite me. The charming aggressiveness of these things. So if I can get over here, I can kind of get over there. I don't know how long I'm going to stay if these deer flies are going to be this nasty, though. So something interesting over here in the middle of nowhere. The placement of these logs. This stuff is muddy as shit, so. Looking at this, are they cut? Because I'm gonna track. Jesus Christ! And I just literally sat down. Hold on. Oh, what a fucking chore that was. Christ. Okay, so I'm not going anywhere near that. I just literally got stuck in the mud. I'll be back in a minute. So I'm going to retreat back to the son of a bitch, to the non-quicksand portion of the meadow. Jesus Christ. Okay, so I probably have mud on my ass too. For giggles. There you go. Mud up to my knees. Fun. And I'm breathing because that was how hard it was. I actually had to stop the camera and like use 1 or 2 hands to pull my foot out of the mud. That was deeper. Jesus Christ, that would have been ugly. So the center seems a little more, shall we say, solid. Good God. That is probably the worst mud sink I've ever had. Jesus. Yeah, I think this makes a big loop around. Holy crap, that sucked. I'm going to apologize in advance because I'm probably going to be whining about that all the way out. Holy crap, that was... So, how did a moose walk through the middle of that and sink 2 inches in? I took 1 step in, I was up to my bloody effing knees. And had a hard time pulling back out. That's what she said. Sorry. But holy crap, that sucked. Okay, we're gonna start heading back. Okay, I have a wet ass but not a muddy ass, but holy crap, that's dicey. That is downright dicey. I'd go back to take a picture of the holes I left, but I ain't going anywhere near that. Get off me. And that one was on my neck, full vampire on me. Yeah, that water line sucks. Holy shit, that was dicey. How can I get across this and get over there? Although it looks like mainly scrub brush. Now the obvious flat spot to launch the drone from is the mud, but you just saw how that works. We're not doing that. All right, so the mud sticking is apparently my war story for the day. I think we came over here. Make a half-assed effort to wash my boots off. To what degree of success? I guess we can just hop this. But oh my God. At this point, the fact my feet are wet is moot, so whatever. Let's see if this sandbar will play nice. Just hop over there and have a look to round out the... No, because even this shit, it's like the whole thing is like so waterlogged. Can I... It's so damn waterlogged that... Gotta be careful. Right in here, I just thought I heard something move. As deep as this is, you could walk right up on a bear in here. So be aware of your surroundings. And, you know, beware and bear that in mind. Bump. Another hidden stream. Well, gully. Still enough to mess up here. So, yeah, this is all, I'm guessing, scrub brush, if I can break through this real quick. And Meadow. But yeah, it's basically this. I would just like to take credit for seeing the back side of this before we round out our journey here. But so sorry for the bad. This is the other half. I'm also getting very perturbed by the deer flies, but you know, is what it is. We're gonna start making our way back. I just wanted to see if this was anything. It's all prairie and stuff, so tracks in here few and far to come by, just because you can't see them. So I gotta kind of pay attention what I'm doing here because of the... Where was that gully? We're like right on top of it somewhere. Trying to backtrack because this is like really very uneven, I think. And a moose kind of looks like he made a little bit of an effort to come through here and show a little bit of the way. So, hidden gully. That basically goes down about a foot. And if you're not paying attention, that's a sudden drop. All right, so we're going to start working back once I figure out where to pop out here and not do another sinky number like that. That sucked so much. All right, so this kind of drops down. So, okay, solid. And sink. Nice coyote track. Get on the other side of this. I think we went this way, since I see that boot print. Then we're going to stay on the less muddy side. Did I come this way? Oh, fuck that. That's already starting to sink. I'm really sick of this mud. So if you step really quick, you only sink about 3 inches. As opposed, jump this stream, well, stagnant water body, whatever, and get back up into this. How did I come out? Let me remind myself where I came out here, or came in. Or if I can get over there, it doesn't really matter. I just want to get away from the flies and a little less in the way of, hi toad, frog, whatever sort of jumping amphibian you are. Get up in here and maybe it'll break the flies up a bit. I'm definitely not going to edit out the mud episode. That's educational. That was interesting to say the least. Oh my God, that was deep. I guess what I'm not telling is part of that tail once I navigate this. Can I get around behind the broken tree? That might be easier. Let's do this. Alright, so let's just move the thing and not... Okay, so what I'm not roasting for obvious reasons after the fun I had, my ass still being wet, not that you need to know that. Apologies for the TMI, but as you spread out more like a frog, for lack of a better word, or a lizard or something, your weight is more evenly distributed. So I would think, based on things I've read, I think, that you'd be able, at that point, to spread out your weight enough that you'd be able to at least not sink in that deep. If you're sinking in that deep and you're that far in, and your whole body's committed to it, then yeah, I think you're at that point you're in some mortal danger. But where did I come in? I'm gonna guess I came higher. If not, it's drier up here, so we're gonna do that anyway. But the there is definitely a potential for some issues there. I think we came in this way. Actually, we didn't. I don't see my tracks. Yeah, we did. We said we're going to go in low, come in high. Or come in low, leave high. High looks like the better choice. Minus the mud is less muddy. A little less. But, alright, we were talking about seeing if we could get into the clearing over there. Let's recon this and see how muddy this stuff is, because I can usually come through here. I want to line up visually with it again though, and just not head in blind. My new hat's got a drawstring on it. Every time I feel it on my neck, I think it's a fly biting me. Not mentally helping. Anyway, a little bit more of a personal bit of stuff today, but I did not expect to give a little bit of a rant on mud safety today, I have to admit. So there's kind of a clearing over there. That all uphill though? I don't really want to go all the way uphill. Let's get out of this and kind of line up where the pond is. I want to say I remember having a better angle there. Let's find the sinkhole. Okay, so we can do one of two things here. We can try to get over there, although I'm rapidly getting sick of the deer flies. looks really thick in there too. It's like I don't really want to do a Manitou this late in the day. And that's me being a wuss, but the mud. Yeah, mud safety, who would have thought it? Told you I rant about it all the way, don't I? Interesting thing about fields like this, so like I showed you the mud before. You walk through the tall grass and just kind of clean it up a little bit.